Good morning, students. Today, all of my nose topics are almost got over. That's why I want to tell today the instruments in ENT. Okay, it's very important for your practical exam. Now I start with some small OPD to become nasal speculum. So that I wanted to show how to hold it. Already I told you, I think, in previous classes. This is called Thudicum's nasal speculum. See, you can see this is Thudicum's nasal speculum. All of you can see now. Thudicum's nasal speculum. All of you can see now. Message me. Can see. Okay. How to hold? See, just with left hand. You have to keep. You have to hold with left hand. See, like this with thumb and index finger. See, like this thumb and index finger. You have to hold like this. Keep your middle finger up and the ring finger and little finger down like this. Keep it in the patient's nose like this, and this is the way of holding. Always hold with your left thumb and index finger like this. Keep your middle finger up and little finger and ring finger down like this. You have to move this one. Okay. So Thudicum's nasal speculum. Okay, mainly for to see any anti-rhinoscopy, nasal septum, little area, and lateral wall of nasal cavity and all, and therapeutically remove the foreign bodies and all, surgery like inside the nose. Okay, it's called Thudicum's nasal speculum. And if it has a long prongs, it has small prongs. No, here it has long prongs. It's called, anybody? That's the name of the instrument if it has long prongs. If it has long prongs, it's called St. Clair Thompson. Okay, St. Clair Thompson long bladed nasal speculum. Okay. If it has small prongs, it's called Thudicum's nasal speculum. If it has long prongs, it's called St. Clair Thompson's long bladed nasal speculum. Okay. Move to the next one. See, this is the nasal speculum called Killian's nasal speculum. Difference between Killian's and St. Clair Thompson is Killian's has, see that screw is there. Okay. Screw. That's why Killian's self-retaining nasal speculum. You can keep it in the position. Once if you screw it, it will be in normal position. Whatever what you want that position, it will be in that position. Okay. So Killian's self-retaining nasal. It's called Killian's self-retaining nasal speculum just because of having screw here. Okay. It's very important. For all the nasal surgeries, septoplasty, SMR and all, you can use this one. Killian's self-retaining nasal speculum. Okay. Coming to the, what is this instrument name? The posterior rhinoscopy mirror. Okay. I'll tell some 4 instruments, the same name, St. Clair Thompson. One is, I told you already, long bladed nasal speculum. That is called St. Clair Thompson. And this is posterior rhinoscopic mirror, also called St. Clair Thompson. And 2 more. Anybody? 2 more instruments with the same name. Anybody? Because for your third internal, you have practicals also, no? You'll ask all these instruments in our practicals. Okay. You should know all the names. Should not like this is speculum, this is the long speculum. Huh? Should not tell the just name of this one. If it's tell properly. Huh? St. Clair Thompson's adenoid curate, and one more is St. Clair Thompson's Quincy forceps. Okay. Last time written now that Quincy question. That's Quincy forceps. For IND, we'll use Quincy forceps. No, that's also named after St. Clair Thompson. Okay, these are the 4 instruments you should know. One is St. Clair Thompson's long-bladed nasal speculum. Second one is St. Clair Thompson's posterior rhinoscopy mirror. Third one is St. Clair Thompson's adenoid curate. Fourth one is St. Clair Thompson's Quincy forceps. Okay, don't forget this. Okay, what is the use of this posterior rhinoscopy mirror? To examine the post-nasal space. Okay, that's the main important. Any nasopharyngeal tumor or something. Okay, if you expect and any adenoids, if you expect any adenoids, then this we are supposed to do this posterior rhinoscopy. Okay. The important thing is them asking your exam, entrance exam like that. The mirror surface is heated, not the metallic surface. Which one is heated here? Metal surface, not metallic surface. Okay. And if it is something is not there, are you able to hear? Okay. Either heated or you can dip it in Savlon. Okay. Either you can use heat or any light spirit lamp we use actually. Spirit lamp or any Savlon. If both are not available, you can keep what you're supposed to do. You have to just rub against the buccal mucosa of the patient. Okay, to avoid to prevent the fogging during the procedure. Okay, and the difference between this posterior rhinoscopy and indirect indirect laryngoscopy is while doing posterior rhinoscopy, you should ask the patient to breathe through the nose. Okay, so that soft palate will come forward. You can see properly the postnasal space. Okay, while doing so, that soft palate is coming forwards and you can see properly the postnasal space. That's why we'll ask the patient to breathe through the nose while doing posterior rhinoscopy. Okay. And one more important thing is what is the magnification of this is a plain mirror. It doesn't magnify the image. Okay. Coming to the indirect laryngoscopy mirror. See the difference here, angulations, bayonet shaped handle. So that the examiner hand doesn't block his vision. That's why a little bit of angle here. By seeing this angle, you can tell this is posterior rhinoscopy mirror, not indirect laryngoscopy. Otherwise, both are same. Okay. This indirect laryngoscopy, you know the procedure, how to do and all. One more important thing here is you should ask the patient to breathe through the mouth, so that software goes backwards and you have space to see downward. Okay. Here, what are the things you'll see by indirect laryngoscopy? Mainly tongue-based, valvular, glass epiglottic folds, pharyngepiglottic folds, arytenoids and all. Okay. What are the structures you cannot see? Okay, no? Structures not seen in this procedure, post-cricoid region, apex of the pyriform fossa. Are you able to hear me? Ventricles. How is it now? Are you able to hear me? Okay, thank you. And on the surface of the vocal cords and laryngeal surface, epiglottis and all. Okay. What are the pitfalls of indirect laryngoscopy examination and all? I think you can read all these things in a book. Just for the completion sake, I'm finishing. The anterior posterior reverse overhanging as epiglottis may obscure the vision. Depth perception is poor, and the procedure difficult in children, and procedure difficult in a person with short neck. Vocal cords appear short and flat in the mirror, and vocal cords appear wide due to the reflection of greater amount of the light. Okay. This is the Tilly's antral harpoon. Okay. This Tilly's antral harpoon is now only for using instruments for sake only they're keeping. We are not using actually in practically. Okay. Before they used to use for this Calvelux surgery, because this procedure are only now abandoned. That's why we are not using this. But you should know the name Tilly's antral harpoon, intranasal antrostomy for drainage of chronic maxillary sinusitis as an adjunctive procedure during Calvelux surgery. For doing intranasal antrostomy, what is the instrument you will use means Tilly's antral harpoon. Okay. Intranasal antrostomy. Okay. This is the instruments Tilly antral burr. This instrument used to smoothen the margins of the intranasal antrostoma. Okay, to smoothen the margins. This is burr. The antral harpoon, and this is burr. Okay, see this. Not important for you. This is the syringe called Higginson syringe. Higginson syringe you will use for antral wash. Okay. It has some valve-like thing here to get water, and we'll keep the antral wash cannula here. Okay, for syringing. Okay, Higginson syringe. So important. Nowadays, this is also not using much because of the mention of endoscopes and first endoscopic sinus surgery. Before they used to do this called this antral wash. Okay, this antral wash. Then they used to do the antral puncture. Okay, Tilly's liquids, trocar and cannula. Its name Tilly liquids, trocar and cannula. Okay. So diagnosed to prove puncture to obtain maxillary sinus, aspirate of the maxillary sinus for analysis to drain pus in maxillary sinusitis, and installation of machine to the maxillary antrum, and even in case of oroantral fistula. Okay, this procedure is the antral puncture done in inferior meatus, 1 centimeter behind the anterior end of the inferior turbinate. The trocar and cannula directed towards the outer canthus of the ipsilateral eye. Okay. The trocar is now withdrawn from the cannula. The valve end of the Higginson syringe, I told you now, dipped in warm water. The valve is squeezed and the sinus is irrigated with water after connecting the syringe to the cannula. The patient is advised to breathe through the mouth. It's called, these all things should know, but first thing you should know is name. Name is important. For antral wash, which instrument you will use? Tilly liquids, trocar and cannula. Okay. These are bone nibblers used to nibble bone spicules and fragments during maxillectomy, lateral enactment, Calvelux operation. Jensen bone nibbler. Okay. One more bone nibbling forceps. Carrison double action bone nibbling forceps. Okay. The very important instruments These are nasal septal forceps and bone forceps. These are septal fractures or nasal bone fracture reduction forceps. Okay, you should know the names. Important one. One is Ash septal forceps, Walsham's forceps. Okay, Ash forceps for almost ends with Ash means S. Ash means for septal. Okay, this is for septal forceps. Okay, and A for angle. Angle forceps. This is septal forceps. Okay, and you can see the gap seen between the prongs on approximation. Even on approximation also, small gap is there here. Okay, use it to elevate and straighten the septum. And Ash and so this such for septal forceps, and it's a stout also. Yes. Okay, stout. And coming to the Walsham's forceps, this is nasal bone fracture reduction. Okay, Walsham wall is like this wall, no? Wall means wall మీద ఉండేదంటే మనకి septal nasal bone. Okay, nasal bone. Okay, Walsham forceps for nasal bone fracture reduction. No gap seen on approximation and is small in size. Okay. These are two instruments you should know. And one more thing is here, see that rubber tube on one tip to protect the skin, because you keep it in over the nasal wall, no? To prevent the skin injury, we'll keep some rubber tube. That's for Walsham forceps. Okay, that's the difference. Here, space, some gap is there even on approximation. Here, small rubber tube is there. That's the difference. This is stout. Stout one is Ash forceps. Small one is Walsham forceps. Okay. This is a Hayman's sternectomy scissors to cut the inferior turbinate and all. Okay. Hayman's sternectomy scissors. This is also important instrument. This chisel and osteotomy they won't keep, but just for completion you should know chisel and osteotomy. Chisel have beveling only on one side. Osteotomy has beveling on both sides. Because of only one side beveling, it cannot cut deep into the bone. Because of both sides beveling, it can cut deep into the bone. Okay, mainly used for lateral anatomy, maxillectomy, mandibulotomy, chisel, and even septoplasty also. Fractional osteotomy, rhinoplasty, osteotomy cuts in maxillectomy also. You use this osteotomy. This osteotomy chisel. Okay, osteotome. Sorry, osteotome. This is chisel and this is osteotome. This is a free double-ended mucopericardial Freer's elevator. This is very important instrument. So Freer's elevator. Okay, to elevate the mucopericardial flaps in. I think the surgery I told you, no, septoplasty and SMR. In that procedure, while elevating mucopericardial mucopericardial flaps, this is a very important instrument. Okay, this is the instrument, also very important one, but nowadays not using much. But you should know the name because it's useful for SMR. Bellinger's swivel knife. Bellinger's swivel knife. See the Bellinger's swivel knife has this. See this knife has 360. Can rotate 360 degrees like this. Like this. Okay. Within its two prongs, it can rotate 360 degrees. Hence, it can be positioned without rotating the instrument, and direction can be changed. Okay. This mastoid goose and all. Before this mastoid, nowadays we are doing with micromotor and drill. Before the invention of this micromotor and drill, they used to do the mastoidectomy using this Jenkins mastoid goose. Okay, this is a mallet. It's like hammer and it's used along with a goose, chisel, or osteotome. Okay, each mallet. The goose is to be hit by a mallet with a movement at the wrist, only at the wrist movement only, the surgery like this. Okay. This is also not, we are not using nowadays. Coming to the oral speculum. These are the oral speculums. One is Hartmann's, Shears, and Rosen's oral speculums. Chumarkin's oral speculums. These are the oral speculums used to see the tympanic membrane properly. Okay. Examination axillary canal and tympanic membrane, and even for removal of wax, foreign bodies, and automicals ear discharge. Okay. And for transcanal injections also, we'll use this oral speculums. Okay. No need to know the names much for UG purpose. Oral speculum is enough. Okay. No need to know about these Rosen's, Chumarkin's and all. Just you should know either Hartmann's or Shears, that must be enough. Okay. For your undergraduates. This is the tuning fork. All of you know 512 is the most commonly used. Okay. First of all, for following reasons. It is present in mild speech frequency, and overtones are minimal, and tone decay is optimal here. Okay. This is called Gardner tuning fork. Okay. This is a eustachian tube catheter. You know now what is eustachian tube patency test? Then that time you use eustachian tube catheter. It's a metallic catheter with a curved proximal end and ring at its base. The opening of its curved proximal end is at its tip. This instrument is usually this instrument is usually 12 to 15 centimeters long. Ring on the proximal end indicates the direction of the tip of the catheter. Okay. See this ring is this side, means the direction of the tip of the catheter. Okay. Other tests for eustachian dysfunction are Valsalva, equalization, polarization, point beam maneuver. This and you know. Okay. This is the instrument for foreign body nose removal mainly, and even for ear also. Instrument used to remove wax and foreign bodies from the ear and nose. Okay, it's called Vectis. This is a myringotome. What is myringotome? When you use myringotome, what is the condition you use myringotomy? When you do myringotomy for secretory otitis media and some acute otitis media condition, even after using 3 months of and 3 to 4 weeks of antibiotics. Good. I'll show the antral burr again. Okay. Yes, good. Second, somebody asked about antral burr. See, this is Tilly's antral burr. This instrument used to smoothen the margins of the intranasal antrostoma. Okay. Coming to this one, myringotomy, I asked to know. Apart from ASOM, you can use it for secretory otitis media. Secretory otitis media condition also we do the myringotomy and grommet insertion. Myringotomy with how do you do myringotomy? Either with sickle knife or you can use this Polygus myringotome. Okay, to make an incision over the tympanic membrane in antero-inferior quadrant. Okay. This is also one more last micro ear knife. You should know the name just like meningotom. That must be enough. Okay. This is otoscope, with pneumatic attachment here. Use it for checking the mobility of the tympanic membrane. Can also use it for fistula test. Okay. It has a convex lens which gives a magnification of 2 times. Okay, this is important. But the magnification of your otoscope. Okay, this is 2 times. Okay. This is oral syringe. This oral syringe, to remove the wax. Okay, Simpson's oral syringe. You should know the name fully. Simpson's oral syringe. Okay. See the contraindications here. It's a perforated tympanic membrane, and in otitis externa, CSF photoarea conditions, and even large hygroscopic foreign body. What will happen if there are hygroscopic foreign body? It will swells and it will be very difficult after using this Simpson oral syringing. Okay, the foreign body will get absorbs water and it gets edema. It's swollen, and it will be very difficult to remove. That's why in hygroscopic foreign bodies, we are not supposed to use this Simpson oral syringing. Okay. Even atrophic and thinned out tympanic membrane case also, if you do forcibly this oral syringing, what will happen? The chance of tympanic membrane rupture. That's why you should be very careful. Okay, while doing Simpson oral syringing. Okay. One more important instruments. Most of the times they'll ask you is this: what is the instruments? This is a mastoid retractor. You should not tell like this. You should tell complete full name: Molleson's self-retaining hemostatic mastoid retractor. That's the full name: Molleson's self-retaining hemostatic mastoid retractor. Okay. It's useful for harvesting temporalis fascia and even in mastectomy tympanoplasty, and even in head and neck surgeries like tracheostomy and laryngophilia also use this retractor. Okay. Molleson's, remember this name, Molleson's. One more Molleson's will come in tonsil instrument name. Okay, Molleson's anteripellar retractor. It's also name starts with Molleson's. Okay. Is stride pick and all, they won't ask you this for postgrad jets, but on micro stride pick, side knife, Pluster's flag knife. Okay. Pluster's flag knife or side knife, we call as flag knife or side knife. Circular knife or round knife. Okay, these all are for pages and okay, you should know just like round knife, side knife like this. Crocodile forceps, alligator crocodile forceps. Okay, these are angle also will be there, upturned, downturned, and all. Okay. This one more important one is mouth gag, Doyen's mouth gag. In some oral cavity surgeries, self-retaining mouth gag used to open the mouth by anchoring on the teeth. Okay, open the mouth. Okay, what are the uses of this Doyen's mouth gag? Glossectomy, soft palate, any oral cavity procedures like tongue tie release, dental surgeries, excision of rannulas, and in unconscious patient to open the mouth and prevent airway obstruction. Very important function here. And Caldwell operation also, you can use this Doyen's mouth gag. Okay. This is also one more mouth gag named Ferguson's. Doyen's is very important. Coming to the most important instruments, most probably they'll ask in your exam. Those are tonsil instruments. Okay. That's why actually I brought some tonsil instruments from our OT to show you directly. Okay, and with this picture, this is called Boyles-Davis mouth gag. What you are seeing, okay? Here, this this blade. This is called blade. This is called gag. Okay, this is called blade. See, you can see this one. This is called blade. This is mouth gag. Okay. In this case, which one is Davis? Which one is Boyles? Boyles is blade. B with B. Boyles is blade. Boyles is blade. Davis is gag. Boyles Davis mouth gag. If you answer well, the examiner may ask you how to fix this mouth gag. How to fix this mouth gag? See, hold like this with the left hand, like this. Okay, and press this above one, this screw one, like this. Press like this. Just hold like this. Just hold like this, and keep in this slot like this. Okay, this is the way. Even I told some 100 times, most of the students do the mistakes in fixing the mouth gag. Okay, see, while removing again, just press this one. Are you able to see? Press again, this, press again. While pressing only, it will come up, otherwise it won't come. Okay, see, hold it with your left hand. Okay, hold the gag with your left hand, hold the blade with your right hand. Okay, always this left, this right, and press this one key like this, and keep it in this slot. Okay, sorry, initially no, okay. Okay, see, again I'm telling because it's very important. Hold the gag with your left hand like this. Okay, you can see the slot and all. You can see the slot. Okay, you can see the slot. Okay, then hold the tongue depressor. Hold the tongue depressor with blade. Sorry, blade is called blade. Hold the blade with the right hand, and just like this, keep it in this slot. Keep it in this slot. Okay. While doing this, if you are not pressing, it won't do. Okay, you have to press this. Okay, that is the thing. If I ask the students for like an exam, you'll keep how to this means like this, like this, like this, like this. They'll see like okay. If you know properly, don't get confused in the exam. Hold with the left hand gag, press it like this. Hold the blade with your right hand, keep it like this. If you press it, you can insert and you can remove like this. Okay, understood? Any doubts? Is it okay? I should explain again. Okay, because the tonsillectomy instruments are very much important for undergraduates in practicals, even in Viva also. So you should know each and everything. Okay. Next one. This Draffin's bipod. Okay, these are called Draffin's bipod. This mouth gag will keep it in the mouth and will attach to the Draffin's bipod, which in turn attached to the Magrans plate. Because two rods with multiple rings used to anchor and fix the boil stage mouth gag for the okay. This is called, I told you already, this name of the adenoid curate is St. Clair Thompson's. Okay. It has with case and without case also. St. Clair Thompson's adenoid curate with case or without case for removal of adenoids. I'm showing this also. This is St. Clair Thompson's adenoid curate. Okay. You can see now. This has two, this one, no? This is called with case. Let's see, above one and downwards are there. That's why it's with case. Without case means we should not have this above one. Okay. That's why without case. What is the action of this case? The case is used to prevent the slipping of the excised tissue into the throat. Okay. How to hold? Like a dagger. They will ask how to hold this. Like a dagger. See, like a dagger. How to hold like this. Okay, I should not hold like this, and this. How to hold like this. This is the way of holding. These are the Valsalem forceps, not used routinely, but will be used if the tonsil is very much friable to hold the upper pole. This will be useful. Okay, Valsalem forceps. And Molleson's, I told you, no, what is the other instrument with the same name? Molleson's. Molleson's self-retaining hemostatic mastoid retractor. The same name here also. Molleson's tonsillar dissector with tonsillar here, the tonsillar dissector this side, and this side is the antrepellar retractor. Okay, so Molleson's tonsillar dissector and antrepellar retractor. Okay, now important instruments. Eve's tonsillar snare. Eve's tonsillar snare. Okay, you should not tell what the name is. Snare. You should not tell like this. You have to tell completely. This is a Eve's tonsillar snare. See, this is Eve's tonsillar snare. Eve's tonsillar snare. How to? Where is this? This one snare. Doesn't have snare or what? No. If you push it like this, it will have snare. See. Okay. There are practical problems with the online classes. Okay. This is a snare. Okay. Once you reach while dissecting, once you reach the inferior pole, you have to hold with you have to hold, and you have to do this type of snaring. Understood? Snaring. What is the action of the snare? The action is crushing and cutting. So just cutting means you can use scissors. Why you are using the snare? The snare in main action is crushing. By doing so, there will be release of thromboplastin, which is a powerful vasoconstrictor. Okay. The snare has stainless steel wire, which is usually 3 inches long with thickness of 28 gauge. It is used to snare the lower pole of the tonsil after dissection. The lower pole is crushed on snaring and thromboplastin released, which is a powerful vasoconstrictor. Okay. This is also a very important instrument. Straight artery forceps, Burkitt's, and curved artery is Nagus forceps. For hemostasis, you'll use these two instruments. Okay, if after surgery there are any bleeding points there, it will be followed by this one, straight artery. Once it hold this one, we can replace it with Nagus for ligation. Okay, this is a Nagus for ligation purpose. This is not important. This is the vas forceps. Vas forceps for incision over the tonsil. Vas tonsillar forceps. Vas tonsillar forceps. Okay. This is important one. Yankauer suction tube. So Yankauer suction tube. See this one. Yankauer even this one. Yankauer suction tube. Okay. This is the Yankauer suction tube. See, it has multiple openings. Main center in the tip, there is main opening. Even in the sides also there are opening. You can see sides also there is opening. What is this openings for? Is that main opening is blocked because of any clots. These side openings will work. Okay, because any blood clot, because of blood clot, if it is blocked, this side opening will work. Okay, this instrument is used for. This instrument is used for all oropharyngeal surgeries, including adenotonsillectomy, besides maxillectomy, laryngectomy, and other neck surgeries. These are the needle holder. Okay. These are the artery forceps, hemostatic artery forceps, general instrument. Okay. This is sinus forceps. This is also important. Okay, it's a forceps resembling artery forceps but has no ratchet. No, this one screw will be there. The inner surface of the blades are separated and tip is blunt. It is mainly used for draining abscess by breaking the loculi inside after making an incision. What is this abscess? You know? What is Ludwig's angina? In Ludwig's angina, this instrument is very useful. Ludwig's angina is submandibular abscess. No, after giving incision here, this sinus forceps are used for draining abscess by breaking the loculi inside. Okay, these are called sinus forceps. Okay. Yes, good. Hemostatic artery forceps. The artery forceps are not much important. Still, I'll show you. Hemostatic artery forceps. These forceps available in various sizes and may be straight or gently curved. The inner surface of the tip is transverse, serrated for better grip. Okay. There is also ratchet for locking. Needle holder, hemostatic artery forceps, sinus forceps, and these are the OPD instruments you use regularly. Tillis oral forceps. Okay, Tillis oral forceps, and one more is Hartmann's also will be there. It's a little bit of diamond shaped tip will be there. That's called Hartmann's. It's called Tillis. Tillis oral forceps for packing or unpacking ear canal or mastoid cavity. Okay, for even packing and unpacking of the nose, you use regularly this Tillis oral forceps. One more instrument is called Hartmann's. Okay. Now, the important instruments in the actually in the tonsil instrument, Dennis Brown tonsil holding forceps. What's the mouth gag name? Starts with BD. What is the BD? Boyles Davis. This is reverse. Dennis Brown, DB. Dennis Brown tonsil holding forceps. Okay. Any difference between tonsil holding forceps and tonsil holding forceps and Lux forceps? Any difference between them? See, this is the tonsil holding forceps. Okay, this is the tonsil holding forceps. This is called Dennis Brown. It has the upper one and lower. This one, upper one has less diameter compared to the lower one. That's called Dennis Brown. In Lux forceps, this diameter upper one and lower one are very equal. That's the difference. Okay, and even the see, the instruments also here also written. The instruments resembles Lux forceps but differs from it in the following: the edges of the jaw are blunt. Here the blunt edges will be there, blunt, and do not cut tissue. Okay, the upper jaw is smaller than the lower jaw. I told you now. The tip has a box mechanism. Here this box type of mechanism is there. Okay. Okay, that you can remember in Lux forceps, the diameter of upper one and lower one are equal. Here it's not equal. Okay. See the Lux forceps, this diameter. You can use this Lux forceps, very important instruments also for SMR septoplasty, for removal of cartilage and bone, for even polypectomy and Kalvalika operation also, and even for mainly these two. Okay. So McGill's forceps. This is a McGill forceps mainly used by anesthesia people. Okay. McGill's people while to pass the endotracheal tube while doing general anesthesia, while giving general anesthesia, they'll while for passing the endotracheal tube, they'll use this McGill's forceps. For difficult cases of Ryle's tube insertion also, you can use this McGill's forceps and remove foreign body from pharynx. And for throat packing, I told you, for throat packing also will be useful. Okay. So this is an angulated forceps. It won't be like this. A little bit of angle will be there. From here it will be like this. From here it will be like this. Angle will be like this. Okay. That's why this angulated forceps commonly used to orient and guide endotracheal tube and to the larynx. This angulation is done in order to prevent obstruction to the view of the surgeon or anesthetist. Okay. For this angulation to prevent the obstruction of the view to the surgeon or anesthetist. So McGill's forceps, we should know the name. It's a very important and simple one. Flax tongue depressor. Okay. To retract the lips and cheek, express password. What is that sign called? Irwin Moore sign. To express pass out of the tonsil septic squeeze test or Irwin Moore sign. How many tongue depressor you use for septic squeeze test? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one is correct answer? How many tongue depressor use in septic squeeze test or Irwin Moore sign? Anybody? Somebody told 3. That's not correct. Only last option is there. Don't tell 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Okay. Only last option. 3 is wrong. Anybody? Anybody? How many tongue depressor you use for doing septic squeeze test? 2. It's very good. 2 is the correct answer. Why? What for? 1 is to depress the tongue, and other is to squeeze the tonsil. Okay, so important. One more is St. Clair Thompson Quincy forceps. Okay, where you will leave incision and all, very less people are written where the correct site of incision of the Quincy. Horizontal line pass along the base of the uvula, vertical line pass along the line of anterior pillar. Okay, just lateral to the junction of these two lines. Okay, you have to keep incision. Okay, St. Clair Thompson's Quincy forceps. This is also instruments, important instruments. Name Collins tongue holding forceps. Tongue holding forceps will use mainly for procedures like glossectomy, hemiglossectomies, tongue tie release, and excision of lingual thyroid extra. Okay, main aim of this function of this one is to not to traumatize the tongue. It will hold the tongue without traumatizing it. Okay, firmly. Now coming to the, this is not important. Coming to the rigid scopies. One is rigid bronchoscopy. This is bronchoscopy. How can you tell this bronchoscope? Because it has vents. If it has vents, you can tell it's a bronchoscopy. What is this vents for? This vents for, so vents on side for ventilation of the other bronchus. While doing this one bronchoscopy, for ventilation of the other bronchus also important. No, this purpose is for the ventilation of the other bronchus. Okay, that much is enough for you. How can you differentiate it with from esophagoscope? One is by having vents, and other is by not having markings. By not having markings here, and by having vents. Esophagoscopy having markings. Okay. This is the adult rigid esophagoscopy. It has available either as Nagus or Jackson's type. I'll tell you the differences. Not important for you, but you should know the Nagus and Jackson. Mainly here is markings will be there. What are the uses of it? Mainly malignancy in foreign body examination, and in therapeutically removal of foreign bodies mainly. Okay, to guide bogies to the esophagus stricture. Okay. Coming to the direct laryngoscopy. Okay, direct laryngoscopy, a U-shaped instrument made of German silver. Based on the type of illumination, I told you, two types of Jackson and Nagus. Okay, these are site of illumination is distal. Jackson law, there will be distal illumination. In Nagus, it's a proximal illumination. These are not much important for you. Just for completion sake, I am telling this. Site of illumination is distal in Jackson, proximal in Nagus type. Number of illuminations is single in Jackson, double in Nagus. Brightness less bright in Jackson, more bright in Nagus. And fogging of the light carrier is possible because it's a distal illumination. Okay, and is unlikely because of proximal illumination. Okay, proximal size is narrower in Jackson and broader in Nagus. Coming to the tracheostomy instrument, this is a Trausia tracheal dilator. Used to dilate the tracheostomy during and after the tracheostomy to insert the tracheostomy tube. Okay. Coming to the tracheostomy tubes. One is, this is Fuller's bivalve tube. In Fuller's, only two tubes will be there. Fuller's bivalve has only outer tube and inner tube. So bivalve. Okay. In Jackson's, there is a three parts will be there. Inner tube, inner tube, outer tube, and pilot, pilot or obturator for guiding. Okay. What is the difference between this Fuller's and Jackson's? Outer tube is biflanged. See, biflanged outer tube. Outer tube biflanged and biflanged in Fuller's. It is no flanges. Lock of this lock for inner tube is absent. Here there is no lock. Okay, but here lock is present. See, this is lock and lock is there. Vent for breathing and phonation is on the inner tube is present on the Fuller's. Okay, that's why for normal phonation, you can test for normal phonation in Fuller's tube. Okay, it's absent here. Pilot for introduction is absent in Fuller's, is present here. Okay. Coming to the non-metallic tube, this is important in ICU setups. Non-metallic is it's made up of polyvinyl chloride. Non-metallic Portex tube. What is the advantage of it is it's not here, instruments not here. The advantage of Portex tube is made up of soft material, that's polyvinyl chloride, and it's useful during radiotherapy. Why? Because all these metallic tubes, no, they will become radioactive while doing radiotherapy. That's why we are planning to send the patient to the radiotherapy. Better to keep him with this Portex covered tracheostomy tubes. Okay. Coming to the mirrors, I had this OPD instruments. All of you know the concave mirror. Okay. So important here is some 3 points are important. The focal length is 9 inches, and focal length of this one is 9 inches, and the diameter of the outer one is 9 centimeters. Diameter of the inner is 2 centimeters. Okay, that is important here. It's a concave mirror. Okay, it's a plano-convex type of bullseye lamp. Okay, you have to keep it on the just left side of the light should be on the left side of the patient. Okay, at the level of pinna, minimum 1 feet distance. Okay, that's called bullseye lamp. I think that's for today's instruments. Any doubts regarding this? Because instruments are very important for your viva. That will add to your theory, not your practicals. This 10 marks, I think, no? Oh, yeah, this 10 marks is very important to add to your theory. In 10 marks, all instruments, viva, X-rays, all will come. We'll see how far we cover in this 3 weeks. Okay. Did you get your this one schedule for your third internal? Schedule for your third internal. Okay. Any doubts regarding these instruments? అమ్మా ఒకసారి వచ్చి తీసుకెళ్తావా ఇన్స్ట్రుమెంట్స్? Any doubts regarding instruments? Once మీరు ఏమన్నా రాగలిగితే తర్వాత in future we can explain directly instruments and all. Meanwhile, that's why I told in this online class. Then no doubts. Very less participants are there. Why? It's very important topics. Board of these online classes. If you have any doubts regarding this, just let me know. The next class, even tell extras also. Okay, that's for today. థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఆయన వస్తే కనుక ఇది ఇచ్చిండి అమ్మా. ఓకే.